right, good morning. What is going on? Oh. Give me a second here. I gotta get myself together. Let's look at these charts today. Set up my iPad real quick. Helps me to monitor any YouTube comments if I get any. Also keep an eye on the stream, make sure it's doing okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's doing good. We're gonna look at some futures today. See what we got going on. Kind of sitting on that 830 price, equilibrium of the 243 dealing range, the same range we were in on Friday. We had that run up above the previous week high, which was marked a little lower, obviously. It spiked it, took the liquidity, traded back down to the range. Overnight, when the market opened Sunday, we dropped straight down, took out this liquidity here, and then immediately rejected that and traded back up right back to equilibrium of the 243 dealing range. So that's what we've been doing. Not the most exciting thing to want to jump in on. This high is the high of the 243 and the 729, so there's that. That makes me really weary. I mean, I'd really like to see us get out of this range. We have just been painting inside of it, creating gapped inefficiencies the whole time, referring back to those. Doesn't give me a lot of confidence. I want to see this week have a breakout. We've got news this week. Let's switch over to the internet browser. We're going to take a look at, go to Forex Factory. I don't have all this saved on this laptop. I have it saved on my phone. But if you go into the filters here, you can filter for just orange folder, red folder news. I tend to just select US dollar since that's what I'm looking at. Today at 10 a.m., Fed Chair Powell speaks, testifies. That's red folder, but I don't consider it to be insane red folder news. CPI data on Wednesday. Oh, I'm sorry. That's tomorrow. That's Tuesday. We've got no news today. I'm looking at it. See, I'm just waking up. CPI data on Wednesday. Now that's a bigger market mover. So we're going to keep an eye on things for that. 100%. So we're just going to be patient. I am. I'm not saying we. You guys do what you do. I'm going to be patient this morning. And demand more information before I get any risk put on the table. What I'd like to see happen, you know, is kind of what we've done. Just trade up into this inefficiency, reject and go lower. I'd like to see us be topped out here. I'm not going to call the top of a market. That's suicide. Marrying that bias has never ever worked for me. So I'm definitely open and fluid. We have been trending up since the big drop at 6 o'clock yesterday. So right now we're in an uptrend. Keep that in mind and in focus. Now, when I look at daily profiles, weekly profiles, it's harder right now. I mean, that's just the truth. Anybody trading in these conditions knows that this is harder because we are painting back and forth. We're not showing any real market direction in either way. We're having big spikes, which doesn't give you clear, defined direction going into a week for a weekly bias. So weekly analysis becomes much harder, and you have to start focusing on more intraday moves. Hey, Karthik, how you doing? Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for being here, man. So what I try to do is be patient, especially on weeks like this, till the market really picks a direction. And demand more information, you know? I mean, the 9:30 open, we get some volatility there. Generally speaking, you know, per ICT's teaching and Power 3 in general, usually moves in the opposite direction of where it wants to go for the day. So you look for that Judas swing between 9:30 and 10. Wait for some sort of higher time frame point of interest to be hit, reversal. I mean, it's, you know, rinse and repeat. You can do that every day if you hone your skill set to that. That's, in a lot of situations, all you need. Absolutely. Hey, thanks for being here. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm in honor of football season, American football season ending. I'm wearing my proud, unfortunately, Tennessee Titans hoodie today. It was good to see the game last night. It wasn't much of a game, but if you're into American football, at least nobody wants to see the Chiefs win anymore. Unless you're a Chiefs fan, I guess. All right, we got 3 minutes to the bell. I'm going to roll back to the hourly chart. You know, you've got this big SIBI here that we're kind of repricing into. The one thing that I did like about this hard rejection overnight into the open is that we moved a lot. And that can be an early warning to me that we are going to push out of this range finally. Yeah, I hear you, Karthik. I hear you. It would have been cool to see him be the first in history to get the three-peat. You know, just from a stats perspective and as a sports fan, you know, I think that would have been cool. But at the same time, tired of hearing about the Chiefs. Good for the Eagles. The Eagles really, really put on a show. They were absolutely a force to be reckoned with on defense. But hats off to both teams for making it to the big game. Something my team's only ever done once, 1999. And every year we're a heartbreak. So we got the opening bell here in about 46 seconds. I think I got the stream kind of figured out as far as bit rate. Been having some kind of technical difficulties with it, but there's a slight delay, but it seems to be better than it was before. So still working through the technical side of streaming, as this is brand new to me. This is week 2. So if you're new or have been in a stream, appreciate you. Try to share the love. Tell anybody that's traders if they want to come hang out and see how I do it. Tell them they're welcome. We could also just get kind of a seek and destroy type profile for the day. So we'll have to be patient and see. We are open. Came down and kind of just kissed the equilibrium of the 243 dealing range. Okay, gotcha. That's good. At least the delay is lowered. It was significantly more before, so I was able to do a little research over the weekend and figure out some of the bit rate and quality stuff. Trying to get it the best quality as possible. I got decent specs, so there's no reason for it to be problematic. I've got a pretty powerful 2 gaming PCs hooked up running all this. So anyhow, we spiked down just below 830 and shooting up. Now, in my mind, I'm always looking for selling above midnight and 830 as part of that Judas swing. So I'm not looking for a long right now. I'm not excited about the wickiness. If we could run all the way up to this high, the Goldbach high, then I would want that information to see if we were going to go higher or just come back into the range. But we had such a big movement overnight. I mean, this is more than an average daily range. So temper your expectations for today 100%. Very likely that it was going to be a choppy day. You know, Mondays, traditionally, most good traders, you know, you'll see it all over social media. They'll talk about they don't trade Mondays and they don't like to trade Fridays. There's a reason for that. You know, statistically, they're not the expansion days. They're the lowest day of expansion of the week. Does that mean that it can't have a big move on a Monday? No, of course not. You can have a Black Swan event. You can have a, you know, Trump press conference. So anything can happen. And when the market's been coiled up in a range for any kind of significant amount of time, then we could start to see bigger moves moving through this year, which is what I'm expecting. You know, this week is kind of the week I was waiting for. I've been very light trading the last couple of weeks. I had a good January, but February, NFP, I like to wait it out. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I just like to wait and see. Just be patient. Not in a hurry to lose money, right? The name of this game is to stay in it long enough for the big moves. There's always a moment in your trading career. I don't know what levels you're at, Karthik, or anybody else, but there's a level that you get to when you can just absolutely see the move. It's clear, defined, clear as day where the market's going. You know, you just have your moment. And if you are trying to make trades just to make trades and you end up hitting your daily loss limit, if you have a daily loss limit, then that big move happens. It might be the afternoon, it might be 12:30, might be 2 o'clock, might be the last 30 minutes of the day. And if you don't have the bullets in the chamber ready to go, you can't participate and you can miss out on huge moves. So you just got to be patient. I'm not seeing anything right now that's jumping out at me as being extremely obvious. Although the ES is kind of diving. The ES is kind of diving. Let me throw the double chart on. Throw ES over here. Throw that on a 15-minute. So kind of what I expect is for it to trade up and then back down possibly all the way to midnight. So, you know, that starts to formulate my trade idea. We did come up in spike, but we did not take this higher time for, or higher liquidity. And with us being at equilibrium in the Goldbach dealing range, then I'm not that interested until we make a bigger move to some larger objective. How long you been trading for, Karthik? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Sorry if I'm not. Excellent. Glad to hear it. Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the journey. It's one of the most brutal things you'll ever try to do. It's hard. It is not easy, and all these Instagram heroes out there selling you Lambos online. It's just not how it is. You can make a lot of money trading, but it takes quite a bit of time, investment. You got to get to know yourself. You got to get past the psychological barriers that come with it, and then you have to be able to scale up from there. A lot of these mentors that sell all these courses that you see with Lambos in the background, their money didn't come from trading. Nope. Their money came from marketing a brand and selling courses. And that's okay. I mean, if you can teach this stuff and somebody can be successful at it because of your teaching, I don't have a problem with that. And that's an entrepreneur out there doing their thing, but that doesn't mean that everything that they're showing you as far as trading is 100% true. And I've been around the block. I've seen the people come and go, be called out. There's some real traders out there for sure. And then there's really good information out there, but you have to sift through a lot of BS to get to it. And when you finally find it, which I believe ICT mixed with Goldbach is really, it's the thing that I like. ICT taught me how to read price action, market structure, liquidity, and Goldbach took it to another level with Hoppy's book, with the predefined dealing ranges, Power of 3 models. Absolute game changer for me. So, but really, once you have all that in place, then you still need risk management. That's good. Yep, ICT is so hard to understand at first because it's just so many concepts all wrapped into one. It's not a mechanical trading style. It's definitely discretionary. It teaches you how to read the market overall, and then you have to pick out a point of interest, take a trade based on that. At least that's how I trade. That's my style. Everybody's got their own. I know some mechanical traders that they have to have X, Y, and Z match up perfectly, and when that happens, they're good to go. That's not how I trade. But all right, so just getting back to what we're doing here, we came down and took out the minor liquidity here, the sell side. We formed kind of a breaker fair value gap unicorn setup here, and I think we could push to the highs. This is almost the exact same setup as Friday. I'm not convinced, so I'm not going to take it, but that's kind of my trade idea. I like the formation. I like that we have come back down and respected this area, respected the 830. But this market has been so difficult to fully read that I'm going to stay risk off for now and watch. I think I'll probably wait till 10 before I even entertain the idea of jumping in. Yeah, ICT, I mean, it gets a lot of love and hate, which anybody with a lot of following and popularity is going to get. And, people online are brutal. They are. They want to see your broker statements. They want to see your track record. They want this. They want that. They're looking for reasons to hate on you. But the reality is that if somebody's willing to do this, you know, what I'm doing, what he's doing, we talk through our mentality of trading, and you can gain from that, and it's not costing you to be here. And I don't think there's anything wrong with how he's approached it. And if he makes money off of it, that's great. I mean, that's good. You know, it's good for him and his family and the trail that he's blazing for his life. But I find his concepts to be the one thing that led me to read the market. And again, Hoppy's ebook that he put out was kind of the final piece of the puzzle to really make me see clearly. And so Goldbach is the real deal, 100%. Bit of chop this morning, huh? ES is still coming down in a downtrend, headed towards London's lows, and NASDAQ really isn't. But these two are out of sync. That's not a good sign for the day. These are the kinds of things that I've been burned on so many times, just itching to push a button, that have cost me, you know, days worth of work. I mean, trading is tough. You got to get in, take a little slice of your pie, and shut it off. You know, we all want to get rich overnight. I've been guilty of holding trades for, you know, some 500-point move that was never going to happen in a day. And, yeah. You got to know when to just kind of surgically jump in and jump out. Take a little piece of the pie, call it a day. Yeah, it's not great to see ES nosediving, NASDAQ climbing at the same time. I've got another screen up here. I've got the dollar index on here. And the dollar index, DXY, seems to be, if I had to pick a direction, I'd say it was pushing up. It is in a uptrend at the moment. So NASDAQ could really be running to take this liquidity that I just marked out before we turn around to catch up to the ES, kind of that six sister teaching that ICT has. See, we spiked, we took the liquidity, and now no willingness to push through it higher. The ES, just bring up the full ES chart here. Look at it on a 15-minute. So it did kind of come and top tick this liquidity here before turning around, which would make sense for kind of that seek and destroy back and forth profile. Yeah, I hear what you're saying about the Dow. I don't know. I lost my trust in the Dow being able to be a reliable indicator. I don't watch the Dow anymore. I used to have it up, but I find that even the DXY, I mean, that, you know, you can't get married to it being gospel that if one's moving one direction, the other's going the other way. It's not always true, and that just comes from the experience. Same thing with YM. YM's like the redheaded stepchild that just does its own thing sometimes. All right, Nazi, what are we doing? Taking that second spike. Interesting price action. Come down here. See if we go for the Goldbach high like I discussed. We could just straight up get a trend day today. It's not impossible. It's very unlikely on a Monday, but it's not impossible given the market conditions. We could trend higher. We did take out this 1 minute structure here. We did leave behind a fair value gap on a 1 minute. Got one here, one here. It's usually a good sign for prices to continue higher, but this is the 5 minute chart here. Took out the high. I might be interested in a run to that Goldbach high. Might be. $9.46. Let's see what happens at $9.50. Hey, last contrarian. Welcome to the stream, and yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let me switch over to 2187 there. Yep, I see what you're saying. All right. Now we are getting a little bit of movement, a little bit of displacement. See if we come back up and utilize that fair value gap. That was a 5 minute fair value gap. Let me get that off of there. Took out the liquidity. Do we use this as support, or do we use it to drop lower like my initial thoughts were back to midnight? 2 minutes to 9:50. See how we just took out the high there? That's what you're pointing out. I agree with you. Definitely agree with that. And that's what I expect, honestly. You know, I expected us to trade up into this inefficiency and down. I'm not bullish right now. I don't really have a reason to be bullish with all the trade war type stuff going on. I'm more bearish. At 9:50 starts that macro window. All right, I'm in for one micro here. I'm going to reduce my risk way down. scaling into this move here. Aiming for midnight. I would not like to see us trade back up to here. That's about a 3-to-1. I'd like to see us create a gap here. This gap, I would have liked to have gotten in the gap. Scaling in has its flaws. Changes your average price. But we're in that 950 window. So I'm in 4 micros, nothing crazy. I'm just aiming for midnight opening price. As I think I stated at the beginning, I like to look for shorts above 8:30 and midnight. I like to look for longs below. So putting the odds in my favor. Does it always work out? No. That's why you have risk management. You accept your risk. So far, I'm liking this kind of price action. For it to continue lower to midnight. Added one more. I'm gonna reduce my risk again. Things kind of in my way. I'd like to be just above that gap. I don't like to move my stop loss backwards, but I put it down just a little too low. I got to give it some breathing room. But we'll see what happens. When you take low enough risk, it doesn't bother you if you're wrong. Doesn't bother you. It's when you're trading with too large a size that things get problematic. Down clear, these candles should support price. So it might tag me out. Took out the short-term high that it just created. We traded back all the way up to this, then it's just choppy and I'm offsides and I'll just accept that. I like to watch it on the 30-second, gives me fine definition. Let's see what happens. Oh, thank you, Les Contrary. I feel like I could add a much better entry. I'm not actually happy with that entry at all. I didn't move fast enough, but that's okay. Yeah, we're gonna get tagged out. And there you have it. We are tagged out. But I still like my idea. I'm not 100% sold that it goes the other way, but we'll sit it out. See what I mean? How we're respecting the lower portion of this gap. Let's give it a second and see how she trades. I may take another stab at the same. Yeah, I think I will. Back to midnight, same trade. I just had a bad entry. That's all. My stop was just too tight. Still feel pretty good about the way it's setting this up. And this is why Mondays are harder. But hey, you're seeing evidence of it live. So he traded up, kind of worked a downtrend. Like to see a kind of a displacement candle here coming up, and we're in that 9:50 10 o'clock window. Yeah, if we were to fill that fair value gap to take out the small swing high, you know, it is what it is. You're not going to be right all the time with your ideas. I'd like to see some movement in my direction here. If we get too much higher, I'll probably kill this and sit out the rest of the morning session until the afternoon. Kind of approaching what I have set for myself as far as what I'm okay with for the day. And it will liquidate me if I hit minus 390 on the day. I have it set that way automatically to prevent myself from losing too much. Let's go, baby. I don't like that it's continually making a little bit higher highs. We do have that kind of 3 drive pattern, so this should be the push lower if it's going lower. And if it's not, and I'm wrong, that'll just be a stop out. Not out here trying to sell anybody Lambos, trying to show you what real trading looks like. Might get a spike up. Let's see how we react here. It's very choppy. That's a 15-second time frame, so There we go. So that is mine being stopped out for the day. I have a lockout set. That lockout is to prevent me from being offsides and taking too big of losses in a day. So we take a small $300 and some max loss for my day. And that's all right. We're going to switch over to the practice. See how this plays out. And that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. Protect your funds. Take a stab and you're wrong. That's okay. That's part of trading. Losing is absolutely part of trading. $390 loss doesn't destroy my account, so. That's why you have a stop loss in place. You had married that trade idea. So what do you guys think? Do we go to the Goldbach high? And move out of the dealing range? Do we just continue to chop? What's your thoughts today? Guess we'll see if we go and take this high. Fill in all of this inefficiency. Probably could have been more patient and allowed $10.15. Yeah, I'm not convinced, Karthik, that it's going to grind up all day, though. I think it's going to turn around at some point and trade lower for the day. That's what I think. And I think that a lot of times the market will do that around 10:15-ish, 10:30. It can, you know, these things are all on time schedules, as Hoppy teaches. They move the time around, though, so it's never, you know, if it was just one solid time every day, then it would be easy to just pick out the exact moment to short the market every day, and it would be automated. And so they don't set it up that way. They move the time around. But usually, in my experience, between 10 and 11, you know, that's what ICT talks about as the kind of the silver bullet time. There's a reason for that. A lot of times it'll move in a direction, and between 10 and 11, then it'll move in the opposite direction. So I thought we'd get a quick scalp down to midnight as it market structure looked that way. We had a change in market structure on the lower time frame. But we didn't get it, and that's okay. That is part of trading. You live to trade another day. I knew today would be a harder session to begin with. Going into today, indecisiveness of the market in general. I want to see if we can take out or get to the Goldbach high, and then how we would trade in no man's land here in between the high of the 243 and its extension. That's what I want to see. That'll give us at least some more information about the overall bias. If anybody caught the long, I guess could have been a good long. You could have based that on, you know, taking out just this 8:30 a.m. liquidity, even just trading to that high there. You only need small pieces. You know, I had a good small piece on Friday, good piece on Thursday. So my winning days are much bigger than my losing days, that's for sure. Try to keep them at least 2 to 1. Then you just keep your account moving forward. That's all you can do. So I'm just going to look at this chart here. Yeah, so we are definitely painting in that inefficiency now. You know, you could argue that at the open, we dipped below the midnight, created the lower portion of the wick, and now we can create the body of the wick up. So for power of 3, you could definitely make that argument as well. I don't love when it dips below midnight before the market opens and then just grinds higher. As price action for me, I don't usually do that well in it unless it's, you know, kind of a traditional trend day. I can do pretty good on those days. There's a lot of times it'll do it a second time, you know, once the market opens. It did take out previous day's lows by doing that, by dropping down overnight. Take out previous day's lows, right? Which would have been this. Took out previous day's lows. Next target could be previous day's highs, which happen to also be the previous week highs. And you have these relative equal highs as a draw on liquidity. That makes a lot of sense. So we'll just give it a minute. I'm going to step away for a quick bathroom break. If anybody's here, just hang out, chat with each other. Give me a moment. I'm going to run to the restroom and I'll be right back. I'm going to keep the chart on for you. I'm just going to kill the camera, okay? So I will be right back. I'm back. Yeah, we're still kind of grinding, for sure. The wicks are on the bottoms on the 15-minute chart. You know, you could have taken this setup here right at equilibrium, bounce up to the high. Probably what I should have been looking for. I got a little narrow sighted there. That's okay. We all make mistakes. Definitely human. Some days I'm just not seeing it as clearly as others. Some days I'm dead on. I'm good with that. The end goal is to keep grinding your account up. And if you believe any of the hype of these cats out here on Twitter, X, Instagram that only show winnings, well, I would find a new mentor if I were you, because anybody that only wins is lying. Still kind of grindy, isn't it? Not any real pronounced moves. I mean, we're looking for the fireworks on Wednesday. CPI data coming out. That should be a good day. Tuesday before CPI, even though there's that Fed Powell testifying. I don't like Tuesday as a good trade day. Day before any high impact news is usually a liquidity setting day. So something to note, ES did just create takeout liquidity over here of its smaller range. Look at it on the 5-minute. Yes, just took out that swing high. Watching how it trades in that area. Switch over to a 15-minute chart here. You can kind of see more of it. We're trading in this buy side inefficiency. We're back into NFPs, wicks. Headed for the high of the dealing range. Yet again. Same thing we did on Friday, really. Yep, good call, Karthik. You have that. I mean, we're trapped in between two new week opening gaps. I don't have them marked out on there, but I do have an indicator that shows the new week opening gaps on my other chart here, and we're just about 50% through and kind of respecting it where this price level is here. 21,841. So we could grind kind of up and down through that gap once again, which if you look a little bit further back, let's see, what do I have that set to? Let me switch to an hourly. A little bit left on your chart here and you'll see same area. We're creating that inefficiency, and that's really the new week opening gap. It's from this point to this point. If I were to put that on there, I don't like to put too much stuff on there. It makes it too cluttered. I think technically like that. That's the higher time frame new week opening gap that we keep being drawn back into, rejected off of, pulled back up into it, right? I call this market conditions difficult. I've been trading for a while, and these are hard to read market conditions. You have to be very careful, low risk, low daily loss limits, these type of conditions, just because there's no sustained moves, you know. we'll see how we trade in this no man's land. We move up into the next dealing range. But this is kind of the high of the 243 and the 729. You got a double high, so we would need to see a big push through that in order to be convinced that we're really moving in a direction. Yeah, definitely weeks of choppiness. Crazy. You've got to be very low risk. You got to be really careful. These type of conditions, you can burn up an account quickly. Revenge trading, or I mean, trading is a game of wins and losses, and your wins should be bigger than your losses. And if you can manage that emotion, stay within those guidelines, and understand that tomorrow's a new trading day and the day after that, and there will be opportunity. When the opportunity comes, you have to capitalize on it, and you have to set yourself, I'm using Top Step X to trade on funded accounts. I have a hard lockout set in place, as you saw when it triggered. That locks me out for the duration of the day. I cannot go back into my funded accounts and place another trade. And I've had to do that just to manage my own emotions, because, I've been doing this long enough that I can see stuff all day. And when I'm just not seeing it clearly, I can do a lot of damage. And that works for me. If you are on a brokerage, trading live funds, my suggestion to you is to set yourself a hard lockout as a maximum daily loss limit, especially if you're newer, because you don't want to go through years and years of burning up accounts, as I've done, to get to the point where you respect that daily loss and you understand that I'm just not seeing it today. I'm human. And as a human, I'm not always going to be right. You want to be right. Well, it depends on the size of your trades. 50% of the time is what people say. I find that you can really be profitable at 30-40%, depending on how big of a trade you take. I usually target more than 2-to-1s. Sometimes 2-to-1 is about the bare minimum I'm willing to take a trade. And by doing that way, I can be wrong. I can be wrong half of the days and still make money. Because on my winning days, they're much bigger than my losing days. You just have to accept that and not try to revenge trade and try to make it back. If you can't accept the fact that once you take a loss, you're going to set yourself back years before you get to the point where you start to see some real profitability. And once you accept it, it takes the emotion out of it. I don't like to lose. I don't want to lose on stream, right? Doesn't make me look great. But at the same time, it's part of the process. Absolutely part of the process. I don't know if you've ever watched ACT's live streams. I've seen him trade and lose live, and people ride him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He took losses. He took losses, and he wouldn't be a human if he didn't. That's just the truth of it. So we're still grinding. We did kiss equilibrium of the range, and then we're headed back up to the high of it. Sort of lost some steam. ES kissed the top of this short-term high liquidity, and seems to be kind of stalling there. What it does next is kind of important. I'm going to look at the XY again and just see if I can get any further information from that. The XY, same thing, stuck in a range that seems to be curving upwards. on a very low time frame scale. On the higher time frame on the DXY, not seeing any willingness to go anywhere really. It's still just kind of topped out and hanging out, so not getting a lot of information extra from that. So if this ends up being the high, yeah, I agree with you, Carthy. If this ends up being the high, and I don't know if you remember just a little bit ago when I said oftentimes 10:15 is where the market turns around. So this candle is 10:15 right here. If we turn around from there, then you'll understand what I'm saying. This is stuff I've seen over and over and over again. Might take it now. Yeah, we just took it. And see if we take this Goldbach. High of the dealing range. Yeah, it is kind of sitting on this block here. It would be nice to see it shoot higher if it was going to. You know, trade it down. That's a good trade if anybody caught that this morning. Just take this short-term liquidity, trade it back down, almost to equilibrium, and then we've traded higher to the high. Which, if you remember, was my original idea. Then I took a trade thinking that possibly we would dip below midnight first before it did that. But it doesn't need to. The market does what it does, and we just have to react to the information it gives us. So, you know, my original trade idea was good. Just didn't capitalize on it. That's all right. Tomorrow's a brand new day. Yep. We've got, I think I have the news calendar pulled up, yeah. Got Fed Chair Powell, I can't speak, testifying 10 a.m. tomorrow. I'd be interested to see what that does. I really expect tomorrow to be a chop. I might even take tomorrow off from the stream, or I may just stream and tape read, not put any real risk on. Wednesday at 8:30, obviously CPI. I want to be around for that. If you guys are available, come enjoy the stream. We'll watch the fireworks together. Then you've got more speaking at 10 a.m. Crude oil inventories at 10:30, and then FOMC Waller speaks it after the market closed. So nothing too exciting there. After CPI. We have come up here and kind of kissed the high, haven't we? Still falls in between 10 and 11. So if I were trading and I wanted to see something happen, I'd want to see us take out this and possibly invert that. Trade through it, back into it, and then lower, and I would aim for either equilibrium at this point or midnight if I were going to take that trade. And I might take one on practice if it happens, but that's what I would need to see in order to be interested in that. And that would line up with, you know, staying in line with the dealing range high. Of course, ES or NQ tends to kind of double purge it, so I could see it spiking up into the no man's land before doing all that. Just my thoughts, live thoughts here. Just kind of have to wait and see. I'm going to keep the stream going until probably 11. And then I'll probably kill it at 11 today. I got some other things I need to get done today. See if we get any kind of market structure shift. Oh. Bear with me a second here. I go to a quick break. I will be right back. All right, we are back. Let's see what we got. We are at the high. Of the dealing range. Should be a good place or a potential place for it to reverse. Still falls between that 10 and 11 if anybody's still actively trading today. It is a potential place. It doesn't mean it will. Something to monitor, keep an eye on. The way these markets have been, you just never know. Never know. We might trade through it. May trade on up for the rest of the day. Could be one of those days. Be unlikely on Monday, though. It's unusual price action for a Monday. Definitely an outlier. Not very often that you see it trade the way that it's been doing. So if anybody's having a hard time, you're not alone. It's been tough. It has been tough. Market conditions are not the golden age that we love, and that's okay. I mean, as a trader, like you can't force your will on the market. You can look for ideas and try to trade off of those ideas, and that's fine, but you can't force your will on it, you know. If you sat out today, good for you. If you took the long based on a solid idea, good for you. There's zero reason to be mad about that. I don't consider it gambling. If you saw that this took out this swing low and that we formed structure, it respected this fair value gap here, dipped below 830, around equilibrium of the dealing range. Those are all pretty solid ideas, and I had that idea. I decided to trade against my idea, which I do sometimes, and I took a loss, and that's part of the game, 100%. I am interested to see how we react at this level. This is an important key level. We're still within the new week opening gap. It was pointed out earlier, so there's definitely some uncertainty in the gap. You see how price is not, the price is turned into a chop fest. Even though it's grinding higher, it's still choppy. It's not moving super fast today either. So we'll give it some time and see what it seems to want to do. Dollar index really doesn't give me excuse me, any confidence. I feel like I'm getting a little cold here. It's happening. It's happening. Yeah, when I was new, I used to watch a bunch of people's streams, and the people that I watched, they were showing thousands of dollars on screen every day. If they had a losing day on stream, then they would come back the next day and talk about how they made it all back and 10,000 more the next day. It took me a while to realize those people were just smoking. They're just good marketers. The intention of this stream isn't to market. It's to kind of narrate real time how I see price and how I see the market. I bring some years of experience to the table, and I've been through all the ups and downs that most any trader will go through if they want to stay in this game. They talk about all the percentages of people that don't make it. There are a huge percentage of people that won't make it, and I'm of the belief that those people are the people that quit before they make it. This is the passion of mine that I started about 10 years ago. Not trading futures, but just trading in general. And so I've been around the block for some time. And if 10 years later, I'm still taking losses and being incorrect about my analysis, I can guarantee you that all of those YouTubers or gurus, as they call themselves, that are only showing you massive winning days and telling you they want it all back, that's not good reinforcement of how trading really works. So the point of this stream is just to grow, show you how I do it, really focus on risk management, because I think that's probably the biggest key to staying alive in this game. Anybody that's been in the stream all morning, I took my 2 losses, and that's okay. Doesn't affect me one way or the other. I'm good to not have to trade the rest of the day and come back tomorrow with a fresh set of eyes and a fresh mind. See what I can see tomorrow. So we've pushed through the Goldbach level high. We're in no man's land. Still in between 10 and 11. Market traded up from 930. This could be the Judas swing for the day. Could also be just grinding the rest of the day. Again, my experience, I find it very unlikely that we grind the rest of the day. Mondays usually aren't the day to set a trend in any direction. Has that ever happened? Yeah, absolutely. I've seen big trends on Mondays, but it's so rare that I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't feel comfortable making a bet on that. What I'd like to see us do is turn around in this area somewhere. Now, we did not take out the previous month highs before. There is liquidity there. I just don't, and I feel like we will take that at some point, but I don't know that we have enough to take that today. See how the candles are just small and wicky? Let's see what we get. I feel like we're rolling over right here. I am in a practice account. I've already locked myself out of the live accounts for the day. Just letting you know. Full disclosure. I will take a practice trade just for purpose of sharpening my skills. So we're on a 30-second chart here. Let me switch to a 1 minute. If we get a significant drop back down, I'd like to see us invert this fair value gap here. So we would need to trade down, back up into it, and then look for a short. That's what I'd want to see. Sometimes on trades like this or trade ideas like this, if I were taking one, I would, take a small stab. And sometimes that gets me into trouble getting in a little early, but more often than not, it pans out in my favor if I start out very small and build into the position. I'll show you what I mean. Let's say I take a quick short here. Set this at the high of that. Just one micro contract. So our target would be midnight. So that's an example of just getting in early based on the area that we're in. And if I'm correct, we really don't trade above the extension line of the dealing range. If I'm wrong, with one micro, how much damage can you do? So once you start to see price move in your favor, you've got a great entry price. You can start adding into it. It's called scaling in. And then you can scale out at key levels on the way down and lock in your profits. If you watched my stream on Friday, that's exactly what I did. Worked out great. That way you can have a little bit more breathing room in your trade and minimize how much risk you're actually putting on the table. That's the name of the game, is you just don't want to over leverage and over risk too much. or you get knocked out. You got to see that as a live example this morning when I think I probably over leveraged on my trade more than I wanted to. Got in a little too early on the idea. If I had waited till around now, you know, maybe that trade plays out. That's okay. You got to be fluid. You got to be flexible. You got to be willing to put your hands in the air and say, I'm wrong. So what I like about this and the confluences would be that we're in the no man's land. It's a 930 Judas swing. ES seems to be trying to roll over. It's kind of an early indicator of where the market will head. We're at a good price. Now we're starting to see some larger movement. If we create another fair value gap here at the high, then you could look to use that as an inversion, which is about where my entry is. So we've left a 30-second fair value gap if you trade the 30-second chart. What it looks like on a 1 minute. I like the 30-second. You know, it took me a while to get used to how quick a 30-second chart moves, but you can get so much more detail. Fine detail out of a 30-second chart, and you can see the inefficiencies in a 30-second, a 15-second, the same that you can see them anywhere else. Once your eyes train well enough, it becomes easier. So again, we've created a 30-second fair value gap. We're trading back up into it. We reject that. Use it as an inversion. And that gives you kind of an indicator of what's happening next as far as order flow. And you could add into the position then. But by only starting out with a starter, one micro contract, you're only risking $66. You're not going to wreck your account risking $66 if you're wrong. At that trade alone, I mean, just the reward, you know, $66 risk to almost a $400 winner. I'd say it's pretty good odds. I mean, pretty good risk to reward. So we trade up into the gap. Does it push through or does the gap hold? Anybody's got a prediction there? Anybody in a trade? Little volume imbalance there. Not unusual for it to spike. Also not unusual for it to double purge the high that it created. But see, if you jump into a trade like this with too big a size, you know, your drawdown, you're starting to feel pain. You're sweating. You're second guessing every move. And That's just not fun. You see how he came up and kissed this tiny little volume imbalance and seemed to have respected it? I would add one more there because I like that. Now you have a risk of $126 on the table, and until we move away from that spot, that's enough risk. Always be focused on this number, this risk. Because inevitably you will be wrong. When it hits that, you need to be okay with it. I didn't invert it. At least not yet. Just kind of grinding. I'm probably closing the stream out at 11 Eastern time. We are at 10:47. Got some things to do, so if you find any of this stuff helpful, certainly like, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try to be on most days, show you what real trading looks like. You know, the real struggles, not just Lambos. I don't have a Lambo, not yet. Trading stuff. This is a game for not the weak. You have to have a very strong constitution to continue to get knocked down in this game and want to continue to do it. Now traded up to the almost to the extension. That's kind of the last line in the sand for me. I mean, obviously the top of the inefficiency, the new week opening gap, makes a lot of sense for that to be painting around in here like it's doing, filling in that inefficiency with efficient orders, drawing price to it so that you get market orders on both sides. Kind of boring, isn't it? Not much going on today. Just a grind. Grinds are no fun. Look at the hourly chart here. You'll see that we've traded right up into this could be a rejection block. Traded right up into it. Price seems to kind of be stalling out at it. Definitely starting to show some signs of weakness. Man, I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait for the market to finally open back up the way that I know that it wants to trade. This consolidation stuff is for the birds. Not fun at all. Will definitely test your patience. That doesn't mean there's not opportunities every day. There is. But the reality is we're in a consolidation. Trading within the consolidation, you just have to be really careful. See if we can utilize this as an inversion. That was a 30-second. Switching it here, it's a smaller gap on a 1 minute. See if we take out this swing low. If we do, I'll add to this position. Again, this is only a practice account. I am just sharpening my skills. I've already taken a loss for the day. I'm okay with the loss that I took. Don't want to risk anything else today. Tomorrow's a new day, and I will save my bullets for better conditions. So I have a very low tolerance for risk in these conditions. And you can adjust that based on how things are going. Just kind of come down, created some 30-second relative equal lows. I think we're going to push lower here. Sell into that. Puts me at $200 risk on this trade with a reward of $11.52. We have smooth lows down here. You see these smooth lows? ICT talks about where the market's smooth as a strong draw on liquidity. So had I been more patient this morning, this was a much better trade idea with a better risk to reward, really. But let that be a lesson. Sometimes you have to sit on your hands and be patient. We got about 7 minutes until 11. If we start moving, I probably would just stay on stream here just to let this trade play out one way or the other. No real candlesticks were hurt in the making of this video. Maybe feelings, but no candlesticks. Could see some speed here and a big drop. Oh, the trade war is going on. Whew. You just never know. Any day can be anything. Keep a flexible bias. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep your risk management in check. Trade what you see, not what you want. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Getting enough sleep, enough to eat. And this is you have to be mentally tough to make it in this game. We've come down, taken out a short-term low in the 30-second chart. No real displacement. Not seeing any reason to get out of this trade, but I'm not seeing what I want to see either. Redefine risk parameters. See how it plays out. Sometimes you just have to be patient. It's a Monday. I mean, gotta have low expectations on a Monday, that's for sure. I mean, personally, I would love to see the market blast through this, take out my stop loss, and move higher. I would love that. Finally, we would be breaking out of the trap range that we've been in. I don't think that's likely, but if anybody's just tuning in, wondering what's going on here, we're in the no man's land between the Goldbach dealing range 243 high and the extension level. I call that the no man's land, where it can be kind of indecisive. Also a good place for a reversal. We traded up from 930. We created a juice swing. And I believe that we could see midnight's opening price being traded back to as a referral point. So that's the basis of this trade idea. Very low risk. It's just 3 micros in there, so not super flashy, but very, very good risk to reward ratio on this particular trade idea. It's about a 5-to-1. These are the kind of trades that, you know, I mean, I'm not telling you to go for 5-to-1 trades or anything, but in my style of trading, I tend to get greater than 2-to-1 on my winning days most of the time, and that helps to, you know, allow me some freedom to have losing days without it completely demolishing my accounts. That's, in my opinion, the biggest puzzle piece that people, they try to teach it, but as a new person, you don't want to hear it. We want to make a lot of money really quickly and, you know, be paying cash for Lambos next week. That's not the reality. You have to scale up. With the advent of prop funds, you know, it really gives you access to being able to trade with minimal personal capital on the table. I mean, you know, I trade with Top Steps accounts. They're 50K accounts. You're all in. You're $200 deep. If you know what you're doing and can handle risk management pretty well, then, you know, it doesn't take an incredible amount to get a payout that's greater than what you put into it. So, you know, you look at it like that and utilize the tools that are available to you, then you can use their business model to make you money. Simple as that. I've traded with my own live capital plenty of times. Also lost my own live capital plenty of times. Also made money. You know, and there's no restrictions when you do it that way. You have access to pay out anytime you want versus having to follow some rules. But I don't know. I don't find Top Steps rules to be super imposing or anything. I mean, they require you to have 5 winning days of $200 or more. You should be doing that in between payouts on a live account as well. I mean, if you're just gambling and throwing one massive 20 contract trade on and then taking the payout the next day, okay, but it's not sustainable trading. It's just not. Anybody watch the big game? Any thoughts on the Super Bowl? If you're lurking in the chat, throw a comment in about that. Did you feel like the Chiefs were really going to get shut out as badly as they did? I didn't. I didn't expect that at all. The Eagles just, they did some damage to them. It wasn't even a good game to watch. That's the bad part, is that at halftime it was so embarrassing that it wasn't fun to watch anymore. What can you do? I ended up turning it off and watching a movie. Kept an eye on the score. Wasn't my team anyways, you know. My boys in blue here. Be a long time before we see another Super Bowl run, I'm sure. So we're just kind of chopping. Nothing real exciting going on in the market today. You know, the trade of the day was probably catching the grind up, you know, from around equilibrium to the high. I had that trade idea, talked about that trade idea. I didn't take it. I didn't act on it. Sometimes I do second guess my own analysis. Now that's just part of it, for sure. So I took a short earlier, thinking that we would get a dip below midnight before continuing higher. So I took a short in this area here, and it rejected to my stop loss, and I was stopped out and locked my accounts for the day. Be sure not to cause any more damage to that. Take my loss. Worry about another day. I took a practice short here. If anybody's new, didn't see this. I want to see the market turn around and head back down towards midnight. It's kind of basing around and not doing much. I don't love to hold on to trades for super long periods of time unless there's something very clear that, you know, like on a trend day that I'd like to see it complete the trend. I'll hold on those days. On a day like today, being a Monday, the market's moving slow as molasses without any very good price action, you know, other than the move up. If I was in this trade with my live account, I probably would not want to hold this for any length of time. Sometimes 12:30, I've noticed, has been a key time for the market to make a big move. In between 10 and 11, obviously, is the silver bullet window. Today's high spike was 10:48, so 10:15 we did make a spike, but we ended up clearing that, which was there 10:16. Oftentimes 10:15 ish. But that's the thing, is you have to be fluid because it's not set on an exact time schedule that we're going to have access to. They adjust it ever so slightly in order to keep things moving at what appears to be random as far as the algorithm is concerned. But there are time frames that you can look for key things, and between 10 and 11 is a good time frame. Hey Karthik, yeah man, thanks for checking out or hanging out with us today, and good luck on your day. Come back and see us. Appreciate your insight today. I think the price structure could still head to midnight. This is just a practice trade. I'm not super worried about holding it or not holding it. You know, just took it to exercise a trade idea. So I'd want to see some movement now. I plan to end the stream soon. Got some things I got to get done today, so I just wanted to kind of give it a minute to breathe and see if we get that movement that I was looking for. Again, this is just a sharpening skills exercise here. It is 11, so market tends to, I don't know, kind of fizzle out 11, 12. Usually if I'm not in something by 11, I'll wait it out. Not always. If I see something great at 12:30, then that's another story. But lately, I don't like to sit on the charts all day. Sitting on them all day just makes you see things that aren't there. It's very fatiguing to watch the chart all day. I know when I first started, like, I was glued to it 24/7. And anytime it made any kind of movement, all of a sudden that FOMO kicks in, you know, then you end up jumping into just bad trade ideas. If you take a trade idea and it's based on solid experience or a solid idea and it happens to lose, that's okay. You feel good about having the right kind of an idea. You know, I have the benefit of being able to record this so that I can go back and watch the stream and kind of learn from my mistakes where I could have waited or gotten a better entry or managed to trade a little bit better. There's always some learning curve to this. But all right, if we don't get a big drop here, give it a little bit more time, but then I'm gonna just call the stream. So right now we're not doing much. We aren't doing much. It's one of those days. It's a Monday. That's why a lot of traders stay out on a Monday. Stay out of the market. Get a little bit of movement now. Could see some fireworks. Be definitely good. Just let this play out. See if we get that. We did take out, this is a 5-minute chart. We did take out, you know, kind of a change in state of delivery, taking out that swing low. Trading back into that gap that I outlined before. Want to see us trade through it and utilize it as an inversion and down. We'll see. Just watching. Just watching. This is quite slow price action. Not too exciting today, really. I mean, like I said, you got to temper your expectations on a Monday. Mondays are going to be harder to read. They're not generally expansion days for the market. If we're getting expansion, I mean, we've got to get out of this range for anything to start looking good. You know, as far as power 3 dealing ranges, like, we should be moving up into the next higher dealing range. Should be. I'm just not confident in that because we just keep trading back down to the range. So, kind of up in the air. I'd like to see us trade back down to midnight. But the market just wants to trade around. So this was just a practice trade. We're going to kill the trade. Take that off. And I think I'm going to go ahead and call it here for the day. Appreciate you guys for checking it out today. Hopefully we get some better price action this week. Like to see us start really moving, but yeah, absolutely come back, tune in. You see me pop up online, come support the channel. Trade safe. Other than that, you guys have an awesome day, and take care. Thanks for coming.